Hi everybody, welcome to What's in the Box. Today we're going to be having a look at the Hunt for the Prometheus. This is the two-player starter set for the new Dystopian Wars. So, some of you may remember this game from quite a while ago. This is the new version that the folks over at Warcradle have been working on. So, I'm really excited to see this because I know what they've done with Wild West Exodus. They've now folded it into the same Exodus universe. So, I'm very curious to see, do some of the mechanics from Wild West Exodus basically cross over into this? Because I remember the old version of this game was pretty math heavy, and I'm hoping this new one, they've basically did what they did with Wild West Exodus. They came in, retuned that game engine, and made it a lot more fun. But what we're here for is to have a look at what's inside the box. We probably will get a Let's Play in at some point, so make sure and stay tuned for that. But to start with, we've got the front of the box. So we've got a really, really nice piece of cover art. So it looks like we've got the Enlightened, and I'm going to guess versus the Crown. I'm sure it'll probably tell us as we're working through here. So what have we got in the box? So we've got Victory and Valor cards. So these are very similar to a mechanic that we've seen in Wild West Exodus. We're going to have our sheet of icebergs and stuff. We've got condition tokens, we've got a campaign book, rule book, all the dice. We've got our different templates, so movement, blast and spray template, measuring template, and then we've got our two fleets in here. Let's dig into this because I want to see what they've done with these ships. And oh, hello mama, it's all plastic. Okay, first things first, we get our templates. So we've got our spray template, blast template, got our turning template here, and we've got our measuring template as well. Also in the box, we get a little baggie with some of the Wild West Exodus style bases. And let's dive into the sprue. So kicking off, we get 3 of this type of sprue, which I believe is for the Enlightened. We've got what appears to be some launched aircraft on a nice little sea base here. We've got the size of the ships, we've got some of the cannon points, some of the mountings here. We've got some armored plate on here. I'm sure as we get into this, we'll figure out more and more of it, but it looks like we've got 2 variants of ship on this sprue. And like I said, we get 3 of these in the box. So the fleet's pretty hefty to start with. Then on the other side, we get 5 of these sprues. So that's a lot of ships because you can see you've got 1 hull, 2 hull, 3 hull, 4 hull, maybe 4 ships on this sprue. So these guys are going to have a lot of firepower. We've got some of the different options. We've got some turbines. We've got some turrets, what looks to be rocket pods on here. Sides of hulls, tops of hulls, turret mountings and such. Cupolas on the bigger ship. You can see you've got the top deck here and the sides of it here. It's looking pretty interesting. This has me curious though. I'm wondering how this is all going to go together, but I am going to take and build some of these. So like I said, you get 5 of those sprues with plenty of stuff on them, so you can really dive in and start like doing some heavy builds. All right, now we've got some resins in here as well for the bigger ships. Now I always like the resins out of Warcradle because it just works very well with any type of super glue. I normally use just a little cheapy super glue that I get out of the local pound store or dollar store if you're in America. So we've got our main ship here, big hefty chunk of resin, but it's a really clean cast. The details on this are razor sharp. I'm very happy with that. We've then got some of our additional components on here. So we've got some armor plates, what looks to be some, I'm not going to say smokestacks, but some form of energy stack or an exhaust. And then it looks like there's a big shield generator piece that's going on here as well. Let's dig into our other baggies here, because I think you do get a couple of quite big ships with these guys. And one thing I'm curious about, I'm seeing there's like turret mount points here, but I'm wondering, are there extras on those first 3 sprues that we saw to fill up those slots? So this is a similar ship, but it looks to have massive torpedo tubes on it as well. So that's interesting. And then what else have we got here? We've got some tack pieces. We've got another one of those. I'm going to just call it a smokestack. And on the other side, we have another generator piece. I like this. So if you look on the underside here, this is marked with a D, so it's going on to this. So it's actually going to pop right on there. Very interesting. There's also some like bent and twisted metal components on here and what looks to be some kind of an arm. So that's interesting. Now, this kind of makes up for the fact that the other side is getting so much plastic because you're getting two big ships. And if I'm right, and I'll just put these up out of the way, the other resin ship in here should be the big ship for the other fleet. But comparatively, it feels a little bit smaller. So you're going to have like big heavy stuff versus like, I'm going to say swarm tactics. Or no, is this? Ooh, is it? I think it is. It might be. It could be. It sort of maybe is. And yes, it is. So it's for the other fleet. And again, there appears to be mounting points. So we've got a turret component that's going up on the top here, which is, again, super nicely detailed. A little bit of flashing on there, and then we've got this component here, which I'm going to assume pops into the back for our smokestacks. So these are going to be really easy and quick to put together, I'm going to guess. So, okay, that's cool. We then have two full decks of Victory and Valor cards. So, the thing with these, it's very similar to Wild West Exodus. I can instantly tell you, if you're playing the Valor side, you're going to get some bonuses. If you're turning it around and using the Victory side, you're going to basically be going after victory points. So, win the game or do something epic. We then get bag of dice, bag of dice, bag of dice, and a bag of dice. So there should be enough here for two players to have full control of their fleets and not constantly be having to like share dice back and forth. So I'm good with that. So next up we'll come up to our cardboard components. So we've got some of our terrains and some additional tokens on here. Pop those out of the way. Then we've got all of our condition tokens. So these are basically any persistent condition that's on one of your vessels. You'll mark it with one of these. We've also got some number tokens, and you get 2 sheets of those. We then come to our Hunt for the Prometheus campaign book. So this is giving us our missions to sort of teach us how to play the game. It's the Commonwealth versus the Enlightened that we're seeing in this box. And oh, wow. Okay, that is a very, very pretty piece of art just in the middle of the book. I wish I could get this in like an A3. It'd be really, really nice. Moving on through, we've got some of our other missions, and on the back, we've got, so if you want to keep up to date with what's going on with the Dystopian Age games, you've got the blog, the forum, and all of the social down the bottom here. Last thing that comes in the box is, of course, our rulebook. So this is going to give us all of our different rules, taking us through how to play, what's on the dice. So we've got the anatomy of units in here. It'll take you through how your Victory and Valor cards work, how your activation phase works, and flipping on through that lovely art again. And then it's going to give us some background as well. So you've got a nice bit of narrative to dig into here as well. And if I'm right, yeah, so here's the Empire, sort of the Asiatic faction of the game, and you'll start to get a little bit of a background and maybe a feel and a flavour of how the different factions in this game play. I mean, the one that I'm really looking forward to, if I'm right, have I found it? I have not found it. It's the Union are the ones that I really, really want to play in this game. You've got the British Crown is in there, so the Americans, yes, those look really good. I love the design of the American ships from the old game, and I'm hoping, well, I'm seeing they're keeping them quite similar for this new version of the game. But that's everything that's coming in the box. I'm going to go away, I'll build the big ships, and I'll build one of each of the types of little ship, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, I've got them built, and wow, the level of detail in these kits, once you get them together, is incredible. I'm going to give you one very quick warning if you pick up this set. Don't dive in and start building until you know what you're building, okay? So I've noticed with the mid-sized ships, there is a lot of modularity in there to build like different variants of ships. So I've built one of each of them because I think that's safe enough, but I haven't built all of them. Your little ships, your frigates, are probably safe enough just to go to town on. Big ships, you can just work away on. Let's dive in and start having a look at some of these. So this is the first big one. And what I thought were torpedoes are actually not torpedoes. They're loading combat wheels into it. That's right, I said it, combat wheels. You can see one of them being held in a cage and possibly experimented on in the middle here. And you've got one being loaded into the tubes. You've also got your little turrets. Now, me personally, I like leaving the turrets on loose, so I'm not tilting this super, super far, but you can see once this is together, the detail that's in here is simply absolutely gorgeous. And I love the way they've designed the command deck, the big circular component here, because there are windows all around it. Oh, and you can see one of my turrets is ready just to roll out there. As well as that big one, we get a second big one here. And this is important if you're splitting this kit up. So you see these three components here. These are some of your generators that the Covenant can have. Yeah, those are actually on the Commonwealth sprue. So if you're dividing this between you and a mate, just remember that those are on there and you will need them for this ship. Again, I have left them separate because you can actually trade out what generators and stuff you're running on your ships. For the cruiser for this one, I did one, you can see it's got like a little launch ramp for some aircraft and two different turret types here, as well as built-in broadsides. Really fun kit to put together, and I do like being able just to trade out turrets and stuff, because sometimes it can really change the gameplay of how you're fighting with ships. Other than that, we also get our three little frigates. These guys are 4 components and super simple to put together. And if I remember right from the old game, you did have to keep all of the weapon types the exact same with these. I'm not sure if that has continued over, but again, leaving the little ball turrets unglued in, you can just trade them out for whatever you want. The last thing we get for the Covenant, of course, is our aircraft marker, which glues onto our base. Now, I'm not sure if they're aircraft markers or maybe like mini subs. I will need to read up on it, but it does look as if they're being launched into the air, and that's just a really clean little token to show you have aircraft or like an attack unit out and on its way. Now, you do get tons of extra stuff on here. So you can see you've got some missile pods in here. We've got some other types of generators. If you don't put a generator on, you've got this little turbine. And you also have some other gun variants as well. So the first thing I built was the frigates. These guys, again, super simple to put together. You've got the 2 sides to your hull, your main deck, and then you've got the conning tower in the middle here. And they will build just as a single type. So there's no worries about building these wrong. On the other hand, we have one of our cruisers here, and there's a lot of hull variation with this. So you have a long tail, a long nose, a short tail, a short nose. Then you've got all your different turret options. Conning tower on them is all identical from what I've been able to see. But again, I like being able to just turn my turrets so that if you're going to broadside someone, they're just looking down the barrels of it. I know it's simple and silly, but I really, really like doing it. Other than that, we have the big ship for the Commonwealth. I left the big turret on the top, this resin component, moving around, because if I'm right, that's possibly a weapon system as well. And then you've got your 3 turrets on the front here. Like I said, if you're coming to build this kit, take a little time with it, read up on the rules first, have a look at maybe a recommended army build for your first games, for those first missions. Yeah, I think that's everything I have to say about Hunt for the Prometheus. Looks like a great kit. I'm super impressed with the models, and I cannot wait to get this down on the table for a bit of a playthrough. So I'll move on. I'll see you again soon.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.